Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hopefully we're back, connected to the live. I want to tell everybody Shabbat Shalom once again. Sorry for the mix up. Okay, you can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
So yeah, I just got a phone call and it kicked me out of the live.
Okay.
So when it does that, I have to try to figure out a way to get back in. So what I'm going to do from now on, I might have to figure out a way to get in back into the live without letting y'all out or starting over. So we were starting with we when Yosef came in, we had started with rebuilding um, our culture, starting to be obedient and listening and doing those things which the Father had intended on us to do.
Mm-hmm.
I tell y'all this because it's very important to know connecting our ways to our culture separated us from the nations. You understand? Our feast, following the feast of the Father, separated us or made us Kadash. Um, and this was important. He used those feast days not only as a chance to get with him, but I liken it to our our national what do they call it? Yeah,
National defense.
no. What are the addresses that the president gives every so often?
State of the Union.
Yeah, as our State of the Union. When we meet together as a nation, it's combining that our state of our union. It's where the Father can take roll call and check out what is going on in the midst of Israel. This is why it's important, y'all. If you ever noticed that when it talks about the importance of the feast days, there's a narrative involved with this. Do you understand if you did not keep the feast, you were separated and ostracized or cast out from the people, which is a representation of your name being blotted out. These feast days put you outside the camp, just
Mm-hmm.
like the Messiah was placed outside the camp when he was crucified.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? They crucified my Mashiach and put him in the ground during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Passover and unleavened bread hooked together. When they went out to inspect the tomb, he had already been gone. But they say early on a Sunday morning, before the clock crowed, that they went and they looked at a tomb. And when they saw the tomb, there was a rock that was placed there to hold back a miracle. But early that Sunday morning, the tomb, the rock was removed from the tomb, and the tomb was open. And when they looked in the tomb, there seemed to be nobody there. And all they saw was the linen sheets that they wrapped my Messiah in. And they realized that he was gone. Well, I'm here to tell you, people, that ain't the true story. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that everything they just said was a lie. You got to understand something, y'all. And I go back to my old self to remind you, I preached that lie for years. Messiah was gone before the sun rose. Messiah had already fulfilled his promise of the 3 days and the 3 nights being in the tomb.
Yeah.
You got to also understand, brothers and sisters, that it was to fulfill a prophecy. Everything that the Messiah has done is to fulfill prophecy. He became our sacrificial lamb because of the promise made to Abraham. He became our sacrificial lamb because we had broken the covenant. He became our sacrificial lamb because the Father knew that we, like Joseph said last night, the blood of goats and sheep would not permit. It was no good. He said that. Man, he said that throughout the Torah, throughout the books. He told you the blood of goats and lambs ain't gonna be sufficient. Malachi, he went off so hard in the book of Malachi. He basically told him, you robbing me. You done stole the essentials. So what I want y'all to understand that you can't separate Passover from crucifixion because they are one and the same. You got to understand let's go to Exodus chapter 12. Go ahead and start at 1. Read down to like 7. No, to 8. You don't have your mic on.
Exodus chapter 12. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Hold on, stop right there. Now, if you celebrate the new year happening on January the 1st, you're wrong. It ain't the new year. The year starts anew as the buds on the plants begin to bloom. Oh boy, I could put bars. The year becomes new as the buds begin to bloom. So you got to understand this. So when we start to look at this, the new year correlates with a new beginning. And winter ain't no new beginning. That's when things are dying off. These are when things are dying and the regeneration period begins. Henceforth, Purim. We're getting ourselves together for what's to come. Now, we enter into the new year. The spring equinox, and then the first new moon after that is our new year, which basically fell on the 8th of April this year. Now, go ahead and keep reading.
Okay, verse 3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Okay, let me break this down. So on the 10th day, you take the goat or the lamb and you separate it from all the other lambs. Mm-hmm. This goat has to be without spot, blemish, and you watch it. I want y'all to understand something. You got to look at that old thing. Now, I want you to remember during the sacrifice of the Mashiach, he was separated from his brother. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Boy, I'm about to preach this one. He was separated from his brother, and he was taken before the Sanhedrin, y'all. Mm-hmm. And he was studied and he was looked at. See, they didn't understand that they were fulfilling what was spoken in the words of Moshe when they were getting ready to kill. Mm-hmm. Woo! When they were getting ready to get rid of the sacrifice. This is why it had to be done by Cephas. See, listen. The Romans could not sacrifice the Mashiach. They couldn't. And the reason why they could not judge him or sacrifice him, because the sacrifice could only be done by the high priest. Mm-hmm. So Cephas, being what we would call a snake or an ops behind the scenes, was actually working out. Woo. See, this is when we say that Yah uses good and evil, mm-hmm, to get his things across. Mm-hmm. So during those 4 days, the Mashiach was being looked at from the time that he entered into the city until the time that they took him and crucified him. Look, mm-hmm, Pilate only wanted to whip him. And that's what people don't understand. Look, I'll just beat him for you. They're like, no, you got to do more. You can't just whoop him. There's more that's got to be done. Mm-hmm. And he was put in a position to where he had to render a verdict that he didn't even want to give. His wife, Pilate's wife, was like, let him go. Mm-hmm. He's done miracles. He's done great things. I've seen it, mm-hmm, with my own 2 eyes. This man, there is no wrong in this man. So to get this off of him, he takes Caesar Borgia. He takes Simon. He takes Barabbas, mm-hmm, and he asks the people, who do you want to crucify? This man Barabbas? And I want y'all to understand something. If you break down the name Barabbas, it means son, bar, Rabbas, rabbi, son of a rabbi. It ain't what you think, baby. It's deep. So they took Barabbas and put him next to Yeshua HaMashiach, mm-hmm, the son of a rabbi, up against the son of... I want y'all to let this sink in. The son of a rabbi up against the son of creation, the father of creation. And we picked the son of a rabbi. Mm-hmm. So in that 4-day period, they picked the one who was without blemish, not even knowing it. You got something you want to say?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so verse 6.
And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the 2 side posts and upon the upper door posts of the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast it with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
Let me talk to y'all for a minute. It says in verse 7, and they shall take the blood and strike it against the two sides of the post and the upper doorpost of the house, where they shall eat it. Yeshua HaMashiach, if you look at the description of how he was crucified, his blood was on that upper doorpost. His blood was on that post, that cross beam. Now, we as Hebrew Israelites believe that he was hung by a tree, because the scripture says he was hung by a tree. Then there was a lot of people that say he was hung on the cross. However it laid out, his blood was spilt in the prophetic way that mirrored what they did during the initial Passover.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we look at this thing and we go in and it says now that evening, right, we should eat it at night, roasted with unleavened bread and with bitter herbs. So we go to the crucifixion, and I want y'all to understand something. It tells us also that it should be done unsodden, which means without water. When the Messiah said he thirsted, and they put the brush in the vinegar and let him suck on that. I want y'all to understand the importance of that. The crown thorns on his head, bitter herbs. That brush was made out of bushes. But I want y'all to understand the pertinence behind that brush. That brush is the brush that they use after defecating. They would take that brush and soak it in a cleaning fluid and use that brush to wipe their backsides with. And then they would put it back in the fluid. That was for the whole house. So when the Messiah thirsted and they were talking about a bitter herb, I want y'all to understand what he put in his mouth. See, a lot of people don't understand the history behind how they did it. They would clean themselves with that brush and then put it back. Y'all, the torture that they put our Messiah through ought to just burn you up inside. The things that he suffered through, the whips, the lashes, and carrying his post up from Jerusalem to Golgotha. All the passion, or what they would call the passion. Bro, if y'all don't know what he did for us, can you imagine being beat out your clothes till your clothes become shreds, and knowing that your mission is to do the will of your Father, and you can't quit, even though you got the power to stop it right there. Do you understand? If he could have spoke and said stop, the world would have to stop, because because the prophecy would not have been fulfilled. And Yah's word never comes back mocked. It has to do what it was set out to do. Whew. Our Messiah, who had done no wrong, took on sin to where his father turned his back on him. Much like the Passover. When we eat of this food, we eat of it in haste, with bitter herbs, not salted in water, roasted, head, feet, legs, all of it together. We have to eat all of it. And when we eat it, it's got to be, we can't leave anything left. And that which we leave, we got to burn it up in fire. Now, I want y'all to understand the significance of that. The Messiah's body came off the crucifix, or off of being hung, and he was placed in a tomb. I want to draw this picture in your mind so you can understand what I'm seeing. He was wrapped up and he was taken into a tomb, and he was placed there. And immediately, once the spirit had left his body, and he said, "Ile, Ile, Shabbatanai," which means, Father, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? Do y'all understand? The sky went dark and the earth trembled and the moon dripped away in blood. The Messiah released his spirit and it went into hell. See, it had to be consumed by fire or it wouldn't work. And he went into the depths of hell for 3 days preaching. 3 days teaching in front of the demons and the souls that had been lost, giving them a second chance to repent, because his blood covered the sins of his people. You got to understand that much like when death passed over the house, death passed over the nation. See, when it went dark that day, what the people didn't understand, that was death crossing the threshold. But the blood of the Messiah covered them all. Even those who put them away to death. Now we just got to repent and receive our Messiah as who he is, the Son of the Most High Elohim, of the Most High Yah. And that we as a people must understand that we must keep these feast days because they are a commandment to our people. And as those are a commandment to our people, it is also significant of a time of meeting with our Father. And when the tally is done, this is why now I'm on this kick. Man, y'all is beating this into my head. Yemi'el, do like Nehemiah. That's all I've been hearing for the last umpteenth years. And I haven't figured out what it meant until this year. Just keep the commandment, keep the feast days. Start there. Israel. We don't know how to do a lot of these things that they ask of us to do because we weren't raised. We've lost our identity. We've lost who we are. We're just coming back into this truth. But I want you to understand that if you just keep the feast days, follow that very first commandment that he gave us. The very first, it'll lead you into the others. There are more times where he told us to keep the feast days than you can imagine in the book. Keep the Sabbath and make it holy. Remember the Sabbath day. Remember the Sabbath day. Remember the Sabbath. He tells us to remember because the significance of the Father resting means that, look, y'all, I want y'all to understand something. When the Father rests, there's peace.
Yeah.
There's not a chance of being struck down. Y'all, I want y'all to hear this. Do y'all understand what kind of Father we have? He don't play. Think about all the people that were struck down. Think of all the people that were struck down in this book. And I'm telling y'all, man, I'm laughing right now, but it's serious. Think of all the people that have been struck down. Think about Ananias and Sapphira. If they would have just made it to the holy day while he was resting, they may have made it through. You understand? When he's resting from his job. Everything that he set forth in motion is going, but he's taking a breather, taking a little bit of time off. So he don't have to, man, Joseph, I'm done. Y'all, if we don't do anything else in this body, remember his Sabbaths. Keep them holy. Once you start remembering and keeping the Sabbath days, then you can start biting off a little bit more. You know, we already understand there's commandments that we just keep by nature. Understand? I'm not sleeping with my mama. I'm not sleeping with my sister. I got to keep throwing back these real basic ones that people can understand because it makes sense. I'm not going to just take away somebody's stuff and steal it. That's not how I function. So don't steal from nobody. I don't have to lie about you or own you. I don't have to bear that false witness. We went over this the Shabbat. And I think this is why the Father's been putting this stuff in my mind, because every Shabbat or every other Shabbat, I get up here with this pity party that I don't think I'm gonna make it. I hope he grades on the curve. But if you there at the party, if it go down that day, I want y'all to listen to me, y'all. If you at the party and it going down, you safe.
Like those five wise virgins.
That's a fact. You just gotta be there. Just show up at the right place at the right time. And it ain't no test. It ain't hard. He give you the manual right in the book.
Yeah.
He tell you, okay, on the first day of the month is the new year. So we looking at the moon, and we know it's got to be a new moon, because that's how we know when the months come into play. So look at, we know we follow his calendar because we understand what the scriptures say. I'm not going by what Enoch say. Y'all go ahead and do that. More power to you. You know, I'm going to go off of what's in Torah. And what it say in Torah is that we go by the equinox, then the first new moon after the equinox starts our new year. And then we start counting days. You get to the 14th day, it ought to be a full moon. That ain't never changed. You go by the full moon because you travel. You have no excuse to stop traveling. Because you can say, well, I was tired, I fell asleep. No, you keep traveling through the night because he's lit up the sky so you can travel by night. To mark he marks things. He does it so you can know that you're on the right. If you take a feast and there ain't no new moon in the sky, if there ain't no full moon in the sky, let me put it like that. If there ain't no full moon in the sky, something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You need to recalibrate your dates.
Mm-hmm.
He's shining a light on his people.
Hmm.
Woo! Get me off of here. So I appreciate it. I know you're off the rest of the week. I don't want to keep you all through the week. Do you want to do anything on any other day?
Let's do the 8th day. We do some on the 8th day,
Okay.
coming out of it.
So when we're gonna do something on the 8th day, we're gonna be here for Shabbat, and then we're gonna do something on the 8th day. I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up. Those who come through and catch this late, I want to thank y'all for coming and just watching. I'm about to get some of this lamb, some of this rice, and man, I was mad when we got in the car and was on the way home. I asked April, I said, "Did you get any of the salad?" And she's like, "Who, Rod salad?" I said, "Yeah." She talking about, "No, it was all gone."
Yeah, it was
I'm like,
gone. Yeah.
dang, dang. So I'm gonna go in there and eat my vittles. And I want to thank everybody once again for coming to join us. Haki, thank you for your support, brother. I love you.
Love you, brother. You're welcome.
There ain't, there ain't nothing more to have the support of those of your constituents,
Yeah.
your brothers. Especially since I'm the baby of the group. Well, now Stefan is, but I'm the youngest of the brothers. And to get y'all support, it means a lot to me. So I thank y'all. And I want each and every one of y'all who are listening today, take time out, pray with your family, talk to your family, tell your grandkids, go over this with your grandkids. Mm-hmm. and your kids. Let them know what these feast days mean and the significance. Because listen, y'all, in the end, we want everybody to be inside of the safety, inside of his safety when time comes. So I want to tell y'all thank you once again for your support, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, family. Shalom, Yemi.
Shalom.